Hey guys, I'm Anthony.
I'm Manny.
And we're back with another DCTV weekly recap for the week of May 8th, 2017.
Yes, sir. And before we begin, we just want to give a quick shout out to Black Lightning getting officially picked up for the mid-season next year. 5th show for the CW Arrowverse. Obviously, there's other comic book series that are either at the helm of Greg Berlanti or in some form related to DC as well, through Vertigo, what have you. But this is awesome because, honestly, about time we have a black superhero on television. You know, not...
That's
Luke
not
Cage.
Guardian.
That's not... Well... Okay.
Sorry.
All right. But, you know, I know Marvel has Luke Cage on Netflix and shit, but this is on, you know, a network television. So this is going to be exciting. I'm very excited. Jefferson Pierce. Get it. Get it. I'm excited. I wanted to bring it.
Based on how much success it has, it opens up a lot of opportunities for the universe as a whole.
Man, if this is successful, which I pray that it is, I really do, we'll have 5 shows going into the next seasons for a 5-show crossover. God, I know I'm thinking ahead. I'm sorry. I'm just very excited because DC is just killing it on television, and I want them to keep killing it. So shout out Black Lightning. That being said, Supergirl.
Let's jump into it.
All right. Now, we have this one being a very Guardian-heavy episode.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll call you back when we're doing Flash.
Okay.
Right? Maybe Arrow, depending on if you still need time.
You got it.
Wow, he's like really gone, guys. Oh, boy. What do I do? I'm by myself. Just kidding. So, what happened was, with Guardian, he saves a woman who was getting, she was getting mugged, purse snatched, what have you, by these 2 dudes. Saves her. Then she's all, oh my god. But you would think that she's grateful because this man just saved your life. But instead, she quivers in fear, runs away. And he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. But he starts thinking to himself, hey, Wynn, I'm feared by people. People don't like me. They're scared of me. So for the majority of this episode, he was Guardian off in terms of mask and everything. So there's a woman who has telekinetic power. She's an alien. And she actually just basically starts a terrorist attack in the middle of like a park or some scene outside in the public, flipping cars, destroying stands and all this other shit, and then she's wanted by the police. Guardian takes it upon himself to get the information of her address and everything, thinks that he can handle this on his own because he is kind of jealous or a little bit upset that Kara gets all this attention for saving the day because people don't fear her, they love her, and he wants to be loved as well. So he goes to her house, and he actually finds her son, and he's hiding, and he takes his mask off because the kid was afraid of him as well, and he's like, please don't be scared. Brings him into the DEO, and basically, he's the only one that they say has a connection with this kid, even though he hasn't had much time with him. Weird. But...
Are you done yet?
No, still in the middle of it.
Still?
Yeah, it's literally been like maybe 1 minute, 2 tops. Oh, you decided to go. All right.
Fine, I guess I'll join then.
All right. Yep. Come back.
It's all right.
All right.
It's all right, people.
Yeah. Great. So, while this is going on, we find out that the reason why the powers. Okay. Yes, we find out why the powers, why she was just randomly destroying shit, and it was because of the fact that Lena and Queen Rhea were working on something. Lena has no knowledge of this. Basically a teleportation device to help Rhea get home, but it turns out that it's used with, I believe it's anions. It's involving that, and whenever that portal is turned on, it actually sparks their powers to basically take over, and they have no control over what they're doing. The same thing happened when James brought this kid Marcus, her son, to his place of work, and he basically was going to destroy Catco, pretty much, from the inside out. And now, this is interesting in the sense that Guardian isn't Guardian, really. Like, it's James that's basically trying to save this life. And that's what I did like. I did like that it wasn't Guardian in a suit with a shield doing a bunch of martial arts that we really don't understand how he knows how to do flip kicks and shit. Yeah. Because I was 1 away from a black belt. Now I'm not flipping over things and, you know, whatever.
One thing I jumped too. Okay, so I'm going to put it in a negative light, but only because apparently that's me with Guardian. But even though we didn't have a lot of Guardian in this episode, which was a good thing, I still didn't like where they took James, you know? Like, and we will get to it towards the end, but towards the end of the episode, his emotion and his acting, his portraying was amazing, you know? I believe, what's his name? Macabre Brooks?
Yeah.
he did a fantastic job. You know what I mean? And kudos to him for that, because he did a great job on that when he was actually able to, stretch his acting ability.
Yeah, but I want to get to the point so that like you can it'll make more sense when you're saying it.
No, I'm just saying. Okay, got it.
So basically, what happens is they track down Marcus's mother once he trusts James, and in the place that she's at, they bring a dampener to help with the powers until they get this whole situation fixed with Rhea and Lena with the portal. So turns out she's like, oh, so you brought enough for all of us, and they're like, what are you talking about, all of us? It's a room full, at least maybe like 20 people, 20 to 30 deep, and it's like the dampener's not going to work for that, and the portal goes on, dampener breaks, and everything's a shit show because they have the power together to destroy the city. And James figures if I break Marcus's telekinetic link, then he'll be able to do it to everyone else because they were all linked together telepathically.
Yeah. And like I said, like he did a great job at that point because Wynn kept telling us, like, we got to go. We got to do something. He's like, no, I'm not leaving. And he had this great emotional scene with Marcus. And that was fantastic. When they allowed him to have free range of like, okay, be emotional, do your thing. He did great. What I didn't like is even though we didn't have a lot of Guardian, we still had a lot of like, if everyone remembers when photos of Dawn of Justice was first coming out, everyone had like Sad Fleck. Sad Batman. Yeah. And that's what we had in this episode with James was Sad James. Sad Jimmy Olsen. And like I said, it's not him. I feel like that's just where they wrote him.
No, I know. He was pouty about it.
Right, and it bothered me because everything made him seem very pouty, very whiny.
And
he always
complained.
He was jealous. And I didn't like that, I did not like that. Where, towards the end of the episode, where it was just him and they were like, do your thing. He did a great job, And that's where I feel like he should have been the whole episode. Just more emotional in the sense of determined, strong. I want to help these people. Not just, Supergirl saved the day.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And then, even when Hank told Jimmy, at first he brushed him off.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's a D.O. mountain. He's like, oh, fine, I'll go down.
Yeah.
Like, he's
that's what possessed him to do, to take that into his own hands.
But then when he needed him, he's like, he has connection with you, and here goes Jimmy. He's like, why? Because I'm black? No? Because literally the man telling you this is also black?
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a connection, because he could have just done it his damn self then. And I feel like that was just... there are throwaway lines, but when it has to do with race, that should never be a throwaway line, Like, that line served absolutely no purpose. James was never the type of character that had something to do with race, you know what I mean? Like, he never fought for something like that because it was never needed. So for him to just throw out a line like, what, because I'm black? No, that literally has nothing to do with this conversation whatsoever.
Right.
So I didn't like that either. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, when Kara and Supergirl and Co. came through with the heat fighting Rhea, and we find out that the portal does work actually because we got a few visitors in National City.
Quite a few.
Yeah. And by a few I mean hundreds of Daxamite ships. Holy shit. There's an invasion happening in National City.
Yep.
Sick aerial shot that they got at the end of all the ships basically just crowding
hovering over the city. Yeah.
And you're like, what is going to happen now? Because there's 2 episodes left. Like, that felt like a setup for the finale right there.
It did.
But I'm very excited because we finally have like the direction of where we're going for this finale, and it could come at a better time.
I think last season too with Supergirl, the finale seemed to have stretched more than just one episode. You know what I mean? Like, yes, obviously the last episode was the finale, but the storyline they told started like 2 episodes before or something. You know what I mean? So I feel like they're taking that same approach.
Yeah. Well, we will see what happens next week. Kat Grant's going to be in next week, so I'm very much looking forward to her return. I missed her this season. I don't know about you.
Yeah, definitely.
But that being said,
let's not, just before we go, let's not forget Mon-El's standoff with his mother.
Yeah, he almost killed her with a gun.
I was hoping for it.
Yeah, but you knew he wasn't going to do it.
I know.
Because she played on the fact that she's like, oh, you're with that Kryptonian girl.
What bothered me, I was like,
not going to do that.
When she said that his father took his own life.
Yeah, I know. That was such
from his hurtful, his betrayal. Yeah. I'm like, oh, come on. Like,
but Terry Hatcher is doing a good job, though,
like,
playing that role, man. It's nice. It's a nice thing. I didn't particularly care a lot for this episode, but it had its moments where I was like, "That's dope" or "That's cool." But I feel like they've done much better, and I think next week will actually be way better. To be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
But that being said, on to
The Flash. So after last week's episode, this was a very, very lighthearted episode. We find out exactly who Savitar is. Obviously, we found out last episode who he was.
Yeah, the origin.
But now we find out the origin. All right, let's break this down.
Yeah.
So, Savitar, future Barry's Savitar, that Barry, is actually a time remnant that our future Barry created to fight Savitar.
And we were led to believe that Savitar killed all the time remnants. No, he kept one.
He kept one time remnant alive, who then was like shunned by everyone because he wasn't the real Barry Allen.
When he went back to where he was taken from, everyone shunned him for not being the real Flash.
So he was like shunned away for that, and that hurt him. And that kind of put him on course to then become Savitar. Once Savitar was trapped in the Speed Force, this time remnant would then go through, whatever he has to go through to become Savitar.
Yeah. In Cisco.
And Cisco, I mean, when he told it to Barry in the street, it made no effing sense whatsoever.
Yeah, so then they actually had to break it down
So
again.
the writers of the show literally said, let's draw it out for the audience. Mm-hmm. So Cisco had the clear board in Star Labs, and he drew it out, and he pretty much explains it as a closed loop theory.
Yes.
In which case, it pretty much boils down to, in our reality, in real life, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
So there was, what came first, Savitar or the Time Remnant? Because obviously the Remnant was only created to fight Savitar, who ended up being that Remnant anyway.
Yes, the way he broke it down was, 4 years ago, Time Remnant was created. Savitar was imprisoned. Then, said Remnant, after Savitar was in prison, goes back home, goes crazy, and as he goes back home, he then becomes Savitar.
All right. So, the theory seemed...
Cop out!
Yeah, exactly. And it's...
I'm sorry.
It seemed
Allergies
a little...
spring.
It seemed like one of those things where you sit there and you go, really?
Yeah.
That's what it is? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And people were saying that about it being Barry himself.
Yeah.
So to be able to turn around and say, really, it's future Barry, and then turn around and say, really, that's future Barry's origin. It's bad.
Yeah. But
I digress. The episode was lighthearted. It was funny because once they found out that it was future Barry, what they decided to do was have create a machine that allows Barry to not remember anything new.
Yeah.
So he will be completely normal, like you or me, he's completely normal, but anything that happens, his brain will not retain.
And then this would mess with Savitar's brains
because he will not be able, he will not be able to remember what they had planned to stop Savitar. But of course, Caitlin was the expert in all matters of the brain, neurology, and stuff like that. So without her there, Cisco and Julian kind of shit the bed on it.
Yes.
Because they don't account for, I think, like his faster neurons because of his, obviously, this power of the Speed Force and everything. So they accidentally wipe his memory completely.
Yep, and like that shit had Windex on it.
And he has psychogenic retrograde amnesia, which means he doesn't remember shit. He doesn't remember his name, his parents, any of the people that are around him.
Yep.
Nothing. And it made it funny. It made for a lot of comedic moments in the episode.
And he was much more lighthearted. He was very joyful, happy. It kind of shows you like how he used to be in season 1.
Yeah, before everything started happening.
Yeah.
Because he obviously did not remember either of his parents' gruesome deaths. He obviously didn't remember he had powers. He didn't even know he was the Flash.
Or the fact that I was supposed to die in like a week or 2.
Right. So he was much more lighthearted, much more innocent, pure. Nothing was holding him down, bogging him down with anything. So a lot of funny moments, and even to the fact of, if I can compare it to Supergirl for a second, when they threw in a racial matter with James, it made no sense, and he came off angry, as if like, how dare you say it's because I'm black, and no one actually did. I feel like Flash handled a racial topic better, much more tastefully. It was funny, because when Barry asked who Wally was, and he told him he was his brother, he had that whole moment of like, looking at his hand, and just being like, well, all right, and that was funny, and if I can compare the two, like, all right, if you're gonna throw race into something, that's the way you do it. The way Flash did. You take that course.
Right.
You know. But yeah, so the whole episode really was, trying to figure out how to get his memories back, while also him spending a lot of time with Iris. You know, her explaining their backstory of how they were friends, and we find out actually a moment from when Barry first came home to the West residence, and Iris found him downstairs crying, and she said, that's pretty much the first time we fell in love,
because he was
we realized we were in love.
He rested his head on her lap, and she was just like basically like holding him almost.
Yeah. So it was nice to see their relationship grow in a different dynamic.
Yeah, and she didn't want him. There was a time where she didn't want him to have his memories back, and it was simply because of the fact that she thought that he didn't have the weight of the world on his shoulders for once, so he just seemed like a better version of himself.
And he deserved to be this happy. He deserved to be happy like this.
And that's what she wanted. Yeah. It was like it came from a sweet place. It wasn't like,
But on the flip side, we have to remember that with his memories all being gone, Savitar's memories were also completely wiped clean.
Yep.
He didn't know he was Savitar. He didn't know who Killer Frost was. He didn't know anything.
And while he doesn't have his powers either, because Savitar is the one that granted him his powers.
Right. So he forgot that because he had no memories, he wasn't able to go through the closed loop and give Wally his powers. So that convinces Killer Frost to go to Team Flash and pretty much and tell them, like, look, you want him back, I want Savitar back. This has got to happen. We'll work together on this. And that was a strong moment, because even when Cisco was telling the story about a night that him, Caitlin, and Ronnie were having when they were building the particle accelerator, and she remembered that memory, and she actually finished the story for him. To the point where she remembered it and it meant something to her.
Yeah, and you see there's like a shred of Caitlin left there, just a little bit.
Yeah, and then after she does her part, she leaves, and they chase after her, but not to fight her, but just to ask her to stay.
Yeah, can we just talk about really quick how Julian took the L of all L's, man. Jesus. I mean, and that's like a double entendre almost, because it's a loss, and it was over love, so that's 2 L words right there, man. And he was like, I don't care. Caitlin, oh, I love you. And she just went, I don't love you. Woo! Damn! I was hurt. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah.
So, you're Elsa.
So they end up getting his memory back by using Caitlin's help.
Yeah.
Killer Frost's help. And just in time to save a burning
building. And Iris
building.
as well.
Yes, and Iris as well. Just in time to save like hundreds of people from a burning building.
Yes.
Yeah. But that means also Savitar gets his memories back.
Yeah.
So everything's just back to normal.
Yeah.
Flash has his powers.
Yep. So I liked the episode. I thought it was great, except for the explanation of Savitar. But because of the fact, and like I said, this isn't the episode's fault. It's the fault of when the reveal was done. I felt like this would have been a great episode to follow up the reveal, but not this late in the season. Like when this is the third to last. This is the second to last episode. So
no, third.
No, this is
this was the third to last.
Third to last. Yeah, I guess third to last then. But because the last episode will be the last episode, so when the
second to last, whatever.
There's
2 episodes after this.
I thought the reveal should have happened episode like 16, 17. This way, this episode could have been right after it, and it would have been a great follow-up. But because of the fact the reveal was done so late, I feel like there could have been other things that could have been taking place as opposed to that, given the fact that it was, the last 3 episodes. Yeah. That's due to the reveal. So.
One thing that bothered me just a little bit, and it was really quick, but it just bothered me a little, was when we saw that Savitar didn't remember who he was, and I wondered why the fuck he was still in the suit. Because, I mean, if it were you or me, and we pretty much blinked and suddenly didn't remember anything, and we're in this, like, wouldn't you want to get out?
Yeah.
But he was just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, why didn't Killer Frost find him, like, frantically looking around, like, next to the suit?
Just laid out. Why isn't this working?
like, why were you still in the damn suit?
Whatever, but
still, like a funny episode, and something that this season needed to really brighten it up a little bit.
It made me a little reminiscent of the first season, even a little bit of the second season too. I really liked it. I thought it was solid aside from that explanation, and they needed it. That being said, on to Arrow. So, a lot transpired. This was a there's a lot to unwrap in this episode of Arrow. I'll do my best to get all of it.
And I will help you.
Yes, please and thank you, sir. Please and thank you. So, what happened? Oliver gets a nice little package from Simon Morrison, a.k.a. Adrian Chase, a.k.a. Prometheus. How many fucking aliases does he want? And it is a dead body. And it is Henry Goodwin, who was I believe it was councilman?
Of the Glades.
Of the Glades back in 2002?
15 years ago.
Yeah, back in 2002. Now, the reason why this is of relevance to anyone when we find out further is that his apparent murderer is, lo and behold, because the body was not found. This is the first time it was found. The murderer was apparently Robert Queen.
Dun, dun, dun.
Damn, your daddy, a murderer. So, that being said, while this is going on, they're trying to make sure that Ollie's not buying. He's like, my father wouldn't be capable of that, whatever. Thea comes back too, for whatever reason, because she's, on the payroll for this week. And they just interchangeable, like, yeah, let's have her go away.
But it made her return completely pointless because she left to find herself, fix herself.
And she did not find anything when she came back.
And then she came back, and pretty much the way she was speaking, nothing fucking changed.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. So, they locate a lawyer who had the last contact with them, Darren Kaufman? Darren Kaufman. And he said, oh, Chase told me that you would reach out for him and blah, 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 so he let me give you this. And it's a flash drive, and Ollie doesn't even want to watch it, but Theo watches it, and it turns out that it is their father murdering said man. It was by accident, it looked like, because, they have the classic, oh, we're on this, what is it?
Like a catwalk.
Yeah, we're on this catwalk where there's all these chemicals, but there's really no bearings anywhere. Why would we have a conversation here? Who cares? Let's do it. Oh my God,
Wait, not only just conversation, let's just start,
pushing
each other, and then turn.
And then on top of that, Robert Queen looks right into the camera right after he commits said murder, just... So he had it all covered up, and that, kind of tainted his memory a little more, I guess, to his kids. But overall, they realized, he wasn't like a bad person, even though he did have his flaws, just like all of us do. Now, while this is going on as well, there's other shit happening. Because Adrian Chase was, because of his prior job, 36 people had to get retrials, and they were out on bail because he was the one that prosecuted them.
He was the one who put them away.
Yeah,
so with his credit tarnished, that tarnishes all his cases.
So Ollie's like, let's look after the most dangerous. One of them being Derek Sampson, aka Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes is back in this episode.
Mr. Stardust himself, and turns out he's actually working for Prometheus because him and his crew are trying to steal all the chemicals needed to formulate Prometheus's father's original wish, which was to weaponize tuberculosis, but they're making an even heftier batch that is apparently 1,000 times more potent and awful, that wouldn't even have any cure.
Right.
Now, Team Arrow tracks them down, and while Team Arrow's taking out Cody and crew, Oliver has a fight with Prometheus.
Well, it might be a very awkward fight on the stairs.
I didn't mind it. I thought they did a good job of actually differing the two, because they insist on having enemies of Oliver's that dress like him. So you can't tell. First you're like, wait, who's hitting who, and then you they did a good job of being able to decipher who was doing what. So they stop Rhodes. He almost kills Wild Dog, but he doesn't. Canary hit him with that shit. And it was a win for Team Arrow, because as Oliver was fighting Prometheus, which this is what didn't make sense to me, when he's like, how could you expect to beat me? We were trained by the same people. Not true, because yes, you were trained by Talia, but on top of that, he was trained by fucking Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
So don't start throwing rank around.
True.
Like you guys are equal in combat when you were trained by Talia. Bitch, he was trained by her father.
And not to mention, he was also trained kind of by Deathstroke.
Yeah.
On the island.
So shut the fuck up. That's
when he
bullshit.
said that, no, he literally has so much more training than you do.
Yeah.
Shut up now.
Yeah, your head should have been chopped off last month. Come on, man. And that's being generous. Anyway, he tells them, so when I was talking with that lawyer that you automatically knew was going to be coming our way or whatever, he told me that your father was actually going to disown you because you're an insane sack of shit and you belong behind bars. Oh, that automatically makes him go, oh no, my daddy. So therefore I will go on my knees and put my sword in front of you so that you can then slay me. Do your worst. And
this is not extremely easy at all to do.
No,
so just
nor
do
is it suspicious. So just go on with it, sir. Go on with it. he punches him out, says, "No, you're gonna face justice." So
in his best Batman.
Yeah, so they have him locked up in Argus, and no one at all in Team Arrow is suspicious of the fact. Not even Felicity, who's been the most suspicious of him all. Like, no one thinks, gee, that was pretty easy how you just said a couple words and he gave himself up. Maybe that's not the win that we think that it is. Maybe he's actually fucking you again with another plot that he has underneath this said plot. And then everyone's like, nah, fuck it. Diggle's just like, hey, drinks are on me, guys. Let's get the fuck out of here. No. The amount of stupidity that was shown by this team.
You know what this was? This was Flash.
Inexcusable.
This was Team Flash stupidity.
Inexcusable.
With Caitlyn holding the stone.
Not learning.
That was
not
this.
learning
Like,
shit.
what are you talking about? You faced some of the most schemy pieces of shit over the last 4 seasons before this one. And he gives himself up randomly because of one sentence that Oliver says, and you're just like,
Smells right. It smells right.
We did it.
I don't have any problems with this, nor do I have a qualm.
Check off the win.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, drinks are on me, guys. Let's go to the bar. Fuck yeah. Let's turn on some Kesha and turn up. Yeah. Why? Anyway, that's not the only thing that was going on. Renee was going to actually get his daughter back, it looked like, but he found out it was going to be a cakewalk as much as his lawyer basically gave him the idea that it would be. He had to go to a court case, and he didn't show up to that said court case. He was wrestling with it because he was saying maybe my life isn't the best for her, given the circumstances of the way I'm living, and he didn't show up to the court case, which was kind of shocking, but I'm not going to go out and just say, oh, he decided not to show up.
Right.
One, it could be due to the fact that he had an epiphany when he almost died from Samson's hand, that he's like, wow, maybe I really shouldn't, because then what's worse? Her living somewhere great and having me think that I don't want her or whatever, but she's at least living a happy life, or her living with me and then I die, and then she has to deal with that. So that's one. Or two, from the previews that we saw last week, Prometheus's people are kidnapping all these people, so maybe he got kidnapped already, and they just haven't mentioned it.
And maybe this was the setup to start that whole thing of people getting kidnapped.
Exactly.
So we don't know yet.
There was a lot in this episode. I liked it, kind of. I don't know. It didn't resonate with me like they've been. You know what I mean? Like they've been resonating with me a lot, and and the flashbacks as well. So we find out that in the pilot when he's saved, that was all staged.
Yeah.
It was all staged. Even the hair and the beard. Anatoly gave him some props. They fly to Lian Yu. He explains to Anatoly why he feels like he needs to be found there, and it's for his father basically. He wants to he says that people can't know that he was off the island for a couple of years because he thinks that that'll raise too many questions and suspicions. So it's just better if he does it. We found out why, like the Deathstroke mask washed up ashore. He put an arrow through it, and that's why it was there from when we start. That was cool. Nice little wrap.
And even the fact that he gives him a bag that has the wig, a longer wig and a beard, like to make it all look legit that he was there the whole time. And the plan is for him to leave, Anatoly to leave, and bribe a fisherman boat to sail towards that island or near that island in 2 days. For Oliver to then set off the bonfire signal to get rescued. So the entire rescue that we see at the opening minutes of the pilot was all staged.
Yes.
Which I thought was a really cool,
that was cool.
explanation and twist to it, where we were like it puts a new meaning on the scene we already saw.
Yeah, because we're all under the impression when we watched the first episode that he was there for 5 years.
Yeah, and even after we find out that he obviously wasn't there for all 5 years, we were wondering, once he gets back to Lian Yu from Russia, how long was he actually there for to grow hair like that?
Exactly.
Actually, only 2 days.
Yeah, and we find out that Konstantin Kovar followed him there. And he knocked him out. So we'll see what he's going to be doing with him next week.
Yeah, and that actually makes me wonder, is he really going to... I mean, how much do we really get of flashbacks in one episode? So figure the 2 episodes we have left, we're probably only going to get, not even 10 whole minutes of flashbacks, So I'm wondering if maybe... how does he wrap this whole Kovar thing up in the next 2 episodes with the flashbacks?
We will see.
Yes, we will.
Overall, it was alright. It wasn't one of my favorites, but I didn't hate it. It's alright.
Yeah, so now that we're done with all 3 shows, let's give our rankings. You want to do the honors?
Sure. This week I'm going to start with Flash. Really liked the lightheartedness that they took finally. Much overdue. It was a nice little homage to the first season. Hopefully they bring that back going into next season. I really miss it. The only thing that I didn't like was the explanation for Savitar. Kind of a cop-out, kind of shitty. But everything else, the humor was on point. It was just fun. It felt fun for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
It felt very fun. Second, I will go with Arrow. Though I felt like they gave us a lot to unwrap. Some of the points were cool. Some of them made sense. Ollie basically is like finally letting go of his past, and I'm hoping that leads to a lighthearted, more comic accurate Green Arrow, where he's going to be a little more fun. Not to say that I don't like this version, but I would like to see him have a little more fun with the job, since he faces so much darkness all the time. I like that he's letting go of things finally, and he can finally put some shit to bed and realize that he's not his father, and that he's should stop living through his father and for his father and live for himself. And and third, I will give it to Supergirl. Guardian, we were worried that people feared Guardian. We feared that Guardian was going to ruin the season. He's kind of doing both jobs right now. It's just not working. I wish that it was. I really do. No one wants to pull for this more than I do, because I love Guardian in the comics, just not here. I'm hoping that maybe having him with his mask off and being more of a hero with his mask off could possibly lead to me liking, or the audience itself liking him more. So,
yeah. All right. I actually have the exact same ranking this week.
Oh, okay.
I will go number 1, Flash. Despite the whole remnant, Savitar, closed loop, chicken egg bullshit, it was a fun episode. You're right. I did laugh more than I did all season, and it really made me. It was just purely enjoying the episode for enjoyment's sake.
Yeah.
Let's watch this. It's a great time. It's lighthearted. It's funny. Good episode. Number 2, I will go Arrow. Even though there was a lot crammed in this episode from different angles and different people, it did seem to work. It balanced out. I did like having more knowledge of Oliver's father. It was nice to be able to go back to him like we did in season 1. He was a big part of season 1, even though he was dead.
Yeah, and then you see that he was actually similar to Adrian Chase's father in terms of how dirty he was in a certain sense.
Yeah, so to be able to go back to his memory and unwrap a new layer of it, I really enjoyed. The only thing I didn't enjoy is how many times they said leave the past in the past towards the end of the episode.
Yeah, I know.
The second Felicity said the first time, that started like an avalanche of comments.
And it spawned him to put the Green Arrow hood back on. Which,
yes. But just the fact that Felicity said it to him, then he said it to Thea before she watched the video, then he said to Thea after she watched the video, and then he said it on the press conference.
Yep.
Leave the past in the past.
Leave
this comment in this episode.
They brought their tools with them so that they could hammer it home.
But overall I did enjoy the episode. And number 3, I will go Supergirl. It was okay. That's where I get from this one. It was it was okay. It was an episode, So yeah, Flash, Arrow, Supergirl.
All right. So those are the rankings.
Those are the rankings, and we are now down to the final 2 episodes of the season for each show, which is exciting. We're getting there, guys.
And sad because you don't want it to end.
Yeah, you definitely don't. But that also means final 2 episodes of us for this season. We did come in late, we know that.
Yeah.
But we're excited that next season we will be here from episode 1 to the end. So
because we got renewed too by ourselves. Yeah. The network likes us.
We gave ourselves the green light. Awesome.
Woo!
Season 2.
Turn up.
So as always, guys, if you enjoyed what we had to say, you enjoyed this podcast, leave a like and a comment down below about what you thought about the closed loop theory, what you thought about Robert Queen being a murderer, or what you thought about Rey's teleportation thing bringing the Daxamites to Earth.
Or what you think about our shirts.
Or what you think about our shirts. Sure, why not? So leave that comment. And,
Subscribe.
There it is. Subscribe if you want to catch more of these podcasts every week. We're down to the final 2 now coming up. But there will be more content to have. More DC-related content, of course. So as always, guys, I'm Anthony.
I'm Manny.
And we see you next time. Later.
Also wanted to mention, guess what? We got a little Impulse reference for those of you who give a shit. It was cool. Barry was like, I prefer the name Bart. Yes. Yes, you do, Barry. That's because that's going to be your grandson. Holla!